Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto discovers a hidden lair and becomes a Shredder warrior? Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. One night in the village known as Konoha, a young 8-year-old blonde kid with blue eyes, and whisker marks on his cheeks along with wearing a torn white shirt and dirty blue shorts ran into a forest and stopped at a tree to catch his breath. What's with those stupid villagers? I didn't do anything to them. Why can't they just leave me in peace? He asked himself. I start the ninja academy in 2 days. I don't wanna be dead before that happens. He rested against a tree until he spotted a 3-toed dragon symbol upside down to look more like a fire symbol carved into the tree. What's this marking? He asked himself until he looked at another tree with the same marking, another one. He saw it was a trail. So he followed the trail of markings on the trees, but he was too focused on the tree markings he hadn't watched where he was going and ended up tripping and fell on his face. Oh great. He grumbled. He looked behind him seeing a handle sticking out of the ground. Naruto realized the ground wasn't real. So he pulled on the handle and lifted it up with all his might to reveal an underground passageway leading down into the earth. Whoa, what's this? He asked himself as he looked down seeing how dark it was. Normally Gigi would say not to go into places like this, but I can't resist. He said going down it. Naruto walked down a stairwell leading into the earth. Soon he reached a walkway leading to a doorway with the same symbol the trees had on it. Naruto looked at the doorway and pulled it open to reveal a large training area with a few tapestries with the fire symbol on it. He saw 3 statues were set up. One was of an adult man wearing a kimono-like outfit. The second one looked like a statue of a samurai warrior whose armor was constructed with blades, and the third statue appeared to be of another being wearing a particular ninja garment and a mask as well along with the same crest on the chest of the garment. What is this place? Naruto asked in shock as he looked up at the statues that almost appeared to have been watching his movements, which sort of scared him. He spotted a large scroll on a pedestal in the center of the room. He walked up to it and pulled the scroll off and unraveled it, revealing a written message. Naruto wondered as he began reading, to whoever discovers this lair and message. Naruto read until it goes back years ago to the man whose statue Naruto saw was writing in the scroll as his voice echoed. My name is Oroku Sake, 8th generation master of ninjutsu, but the ninja lands know me as the Shredder. I once lived here in the village of Konoha raising my own brand of ninja known as the Foot Clan, training them in my own style of martial arts. They were the finest elite of ninja to ever set foot on the battlefield. But I'm afraid I must go to war now. I might not return alive, so I've left behind several scrolls containing my history and knowledge of the foot. Along with one of my most favorite weapons, the Sword of Tengu, a truly marvelous weapon that fell from the heavens and was crafted by goblins and was so powerful it destroyed its creators, as I have told many about its legend. But my most prized possession is my old suit of armor crafted from the finest steel in the ninja lands. It is the ultimate battle suit. I pray whoever finds this will carry on my legacy well and raise a new generation of foot ninjas. Kindest regards, Oroku Sake. Naruto finished reading. Naruto looked surprised after reading all of this. This Oroku Sake sounds incredible, he said to himself until his gaze stopped upon a glass case containing a sword with a golden 3-pointed hilt along with a golden dragon coiling around the handle. This must be the sword Sake was talking about. He then looked around until his gaze stopped in front of a huge cabinet. I wonder. He pondered. He approached the cabinet and opened it up. What he found inside startled him. For resting inside was his obvious Shredder armor, only more dangerous and sharper, Turtles Forever version. On the sides of the cabinet doors were 2 more outfits. One was a white kimono with a gray torso guard on it with the Foot Clan crest on each of the shoulder area. The second one was a black ninja garment with a gray vest over it along with the foot crest on the chest. Along with it was a black ninja head mask with yellow eyes. Naruto thought a bit. Maybe I can make use of this stuff. He looked at a portrait of Oroku Sake. You want your legacy to live on, Master Sake? Well, you just got your wish. I will take up the mantle of the Shredder and become the greatest ninja in the lands, and maybe start my own village with my own ninja. He declared until he looks at the armor and the other two uniforms, though I may need to get these refitted for me. He snickered. The next day after Naruto had discovered the hidden lair of Oroku Sake, he was able to transport select things such as some scrolls, and Saki's kimono with the 2-foot crests on the shoulder areas back to his apartment. Naruto was currently sitting at a kitchen table eating some ramen while wearing cleaner clothes since the ones from last night were torn up. Suddenly he heard a knock at his door, so he peeks through a crack seeing an Anbu wearing a dog mask. He opened it. "Oh, Inu-san, what's going on?" "Naruto, the Hokage wishes to see you immediately." The Anbu answered. "All right," Naruto said as he stood next to the Anbu, and in a swirl of leaves he appeared in the Hokage's office. "Ah, Naruto, so glad you could come," Sarutobi said and motioned to the Anbu. "That will be all, Kakashi." The Anbu known as Kakashi bowed his head and exited the office. "What's up, Gigi?" Naruto asked. The Hokage cleared his throat. "Naruto, last night it seems you have discovered one of Konoha's most legendary warriors." "You saw?" Naruto gasped. Sarutobi smirked. "I have eyes all around this village, Naruto. I see all." Naruto looked weirded out by the phrase. "Do those eyes watch people get dressed every day?" He teased. The Hokage blushed. "That's not what I meant." He scolded Naruto. "Anyway, I'm here to talk to you about Oroku Sake." Naruto frowned. "I'm not going to let you take his stuff away from me. I found it all fair and square. I don't care if you are the Hokage, I'll fight you for them." "Calm yourself, Naruto," Sarutobi chuckled. "I didn't call you here to confiscate Saki's possessions. In fact, I'm glad you of all people found them." "You are?" Naruto asked. "Yes. If his possessions fell into greedy hands, then they would become corrupted with power and strength," Sarutobi answered, "so consider yourself lucky you found it before anyone else did." "I guess you're right," Naruto said, knowing if someone else found it, they'd probably use it on him. "So I am allowing you access to my library to find out all the hidden information on Oroku Sake and his abilities." Sarutobi replied. "Really?" Naruto gasped. Sarutobi nodded. "Yes, but I must tell you not to throw it in others' faces, or at least just yet. Otherwise you might as well be asking people to come after you." "I understand." Naruto nodded. "Good. Now feel free to check out the library on Sake." Sarutobi dismissed him. "Thanks, Gigi," Naruto said as he left. Soon Naruto was in a secret library inside the administration building with a tower of books. Naruto was reading all the data he could find on Oroku Sake that the village had chronicled. So much data on this guy. I'm surprised nobody talks about him in the village, Naruto said as he finished one of the books. Well, I hope the village will be ready for a blast from the past, because if I intend to be the new Shredder, I have to work hard and not slack off like before. And from that day on, Naruto dedicated himself to learning all there ever was about Sake and his reputation as the Shredder. As time went on, year after year, Naruto worked on his martial arts skills in Saki's training temple underground, studying at the academy while many of the girls were fawning over a single boy named Sasuke Uchiha. When he was at least 10, he was able to work on the Shredder armor, refitting it to be his size and sharpen the blades on it. At night he would run and jump atop the buildings of Konoha to perfect his speed while he wore the foot ninja garment so he wouldn't be so easily detected, training with the sword of Tengu while wearing protective metal gloves so it wouldn't shock him when he used it, remembering about how its effects could burn a wielder's hands if they didn't wear anything special to protect them. At night he would wear Saki's old robe while he sat at his table enjoying some hot tea. When he was 12, Sarutobi convinced one of the Anbu members known as Neko to tattoo the symbol of the Foot Clan on Naruto's right shoulder. In the present day, 13-year-old Naruto was inside Oroku Sake's temple. He opened up the cabinet revealing the Shredder suit in his size. Now it's time to test this suit out. He smiled. Soon standing on top of a Konoha building was Naruto wearing the shredder armor with the sword of Tengu strapped to his back. He then raised the helmet above his head and put it on. While wearing the helmet his eyes appeared to look red. Now the village can see the birth of the new shredder. He declared with his voice giving off a kind of echo sound through the helmet, along with pumping his arms up. Naruto then jumped from roof to roof of the village to get used to moving around at a fast speed while wearing the armor. After a long run he stopped on one rooftops for a breather until he heard a female scream, "What the?" He asked as he searched for the source, and when he discovered it he looked horrified. He saw a blonde girl about his age wearing purple clothes cornered by 3 drunken villagers. "Come on little missy, why not join us for a drink?" one of them asked in a drunk state. "1 hour tops, that's all we need," another added in the same state as his friend. "Someone please help," the girl cried until she fell backwards landing on her rear. Naruto's eyes widened beneath his helmet. "Ino." He gasped to himself. It was Ino Yamanaka, one of his fellow students at the Ninja Academy. Though she never talked to him a lot, but rather focused her attention on Sasuke Uchiha, he really wasn't that noticeable to her. Feeling like any noble and honorable ninja would do, he had to save her. He jumped down from building to building. Ino, who backed away in fright, was surrounded, but before the 3 drunks could reach her Naruto dropped in. The men and Ino were surprised at the figure decked out in bladed armor. "What is this?" the 3rd drunk asked. "Beat it pal, we're busy here," the first told him. Naruto's eyes tightened beneath the helmet as he pointed his left arm at them. What scared them was on the left hand was a 2-long bladed gauntlet. "Your doom is at hand, worms," he shouted and zipped right past them and appeared behind them on one knee. The 3 men suddenly fell down on their faces. Ino was shocked to see this happen and looked back at the strange guy who saved her. He looked back at her. "It'll be all right. I just knocked them out. They are easier to defeat when they're drunk." You saved me," Ino stuttered. He approached her and offered his right hand to help her up. Ino blushed but took his hand anyway and was helped back on her feet. "Thank you, but who are you?" Ino asked. "I am known as the Shredder, 9th generation master of ninjutsu," he started, "although you Ino know me by another name." "You know me, and I know you?" Ino asked confused. "I guess no one could ever tell it's me under all of this," he said, taking his helmet off, revealing his true face to her. "Hi Ino." "Naruto." Ino gasped. "Well, at least you know my name. What's going on and what's with the outfit?" Ino was filled with more questions but couldn't say them all. "Well, seeing as how you haven't noticed me much, Ino. I've been studying and training by myself in a style and art not many people of this village know about," Naruto answered. "But why did you save me? I haven't really been the nicest of people to you," Ino mentioned. "True, you haven't, but if I just left you to die then I would be no better than these 3 slobs," Naruto said, motioning to the 3 knocked out men. I don't know what to say, arigato," Ino said, lost for words. Naruto smiled. "Don't worry about it," Naruto said, putting the shredder helmet back on. "You will be all right now. Good night, Ino," he said, and jumped back up a building and headed off through the village. Ino still stood in surprise, trying to take in all that just happened with her. "Naruto, he's so nice, he actually saved me. I don't think anyone else would have done the same, not even Sasuke." She started thinking as she felt a little warm and put a hand over her heart. "Wait, what's this warm feeling? Oh my, could I actually be in with?" she thought until she finally realized it. "I think I'm in love with Naruto." The morning after the night Naruto rescued Ino from the 3 drunks, the blonde himself was back at home, waking up, took a shower, had breakfast, and slipped into Saki's white robe only in his size. He slipped into his ninja sandals and headed out the door to the academy. He ignored the looks being given at him for not only the regular reasons, but for what he was wearing. Their gazes were focused on the foot crests found on the shoulder areas of his robe. He just ignored them until he reached the academy and entered. When he entered, all the other students looked at him oddly. he noticed and spoke out, "What are you looking at?" "What's with the robe, Naruto?" Shikamaru asked. "Just a new outfit, you know." Naruto asked. "Looks pretty pathetic," Sasuke said, glancing to him. "Oh, shut your mouth, Tem. I didn't ask for your opinion," Naruto shouted to him. "Don't you talk to Sasuke-kun that way, baka." Sakura, the leading fan girl, scolded him. Naruto frowned. "Stay out this conversation, Haruno. This is none of your affairs," Naruto shouted in a commanding voice which caused a shock in everyone. "None of your affairs?" Kiba asked. "Since when did you start using big sentences?" "A lot of things have changed, Kiba, but none of you would really notice, seeing as how no one ever noticed me," Naruto said, not making eye contact with anyone. Ino, who was watching from opposite desk of Naruto, looked at him with concern. She then stood up from the side where Sasuke was with all the fangirls and walked to where Naruto was sitting. "Can I sit with you today, Naruto?" Ino asked, which got every girl in the room confused out of their senses. Naruto looked at her and smiled. "Sure." So she took the seat next to him. "Ino, what are you doing?" Sakura cried. "Sitting down," Ino answered bluntly. "I can see that," Sakura shouted, "but why are you sitting next to him?" She pointed at Naruto. "Do I need a reason to?" Ino asked. "I'm free to sit with whoever I want, especially someone who saved my life last night." "What?" the students shouted. "You saved Ino, Naruto?" a big guy named Choji asked. "He sure did. He knocked out 3 drunks with 1 strike." Ino gloated for Naruto, who didn't wanna come off as a big shot, or at least like that. "Ha! I bet the Dobi got lucky. There's no way he could have done that," Sasuke replied. "If you were there, Sasuke, you would believe it," Ino replied. Iruka Yumino then entered the class. "All right, class, today we will be sparring outside today." Outside, a small arena was set up and students were sparring it out in hand to hand or in whatever jutsu they knew. Naruto watched as student after student was called up. "Naruto?" Ino asked as she sat beside him. "Hi Ino, what's up?" Naruto asked. "I brought you a little something," Ino said, holding out a bento. "What's this for?" Naruto asked, raising a brow. "A thank you for saving me last night. No one else in our class would have had the guts to do what you did, that's for sure." Ino smiled. "Well, thanks," Naruto said as he took the bento and ate it. "It's delicious. Did you make this?" "Sure did," Ino smiled. "It's delicious. Thanks." Soon Naruto heard his name called up, so he stood up and walked to the field, and to his surprise Sasuke Uchiha was selected as his opponent. Sasuke smirked as he stepped onto the field. "Well, Dobi, looks like you're about to get humiliated." Naruto scowled. "Don't make assumptions just yet, Sasuke. The match hasn't even started yet." "Why start it? They might as well call the match to me," Sasuke said arrogantly. "Careful, Sasuke. Arrogance will be your downfall." Naruto smirked. Sasuke frowned, and when Iruka called for the match to begin, Sasuke took off, throwing a punch right for Naruto. Naruto had turned his body's standing position, causing Sasuke to miss, and Naruto tripped Sasuke, sending him to the ground. Sasuke used his legs to sweep Naruto off his, but Naruto back-flipped backwards, putting some distance between them. "Nice try, Sasuke, but it'll take more than that to beat me." "Beat you? I don't even have to try," Sasuke replied, jumping to his feet. "You will be trying once I've truly shown my full strength," Naruto declared as he vanished. "So fast," Sasuke gasped along with the other students. Naruto appeared behind the Uchiha and delivered a spinning kick, but Sasuke caught the leg, only to have Naruto do another spin kick to Sasuke's face, blinding him. Naruto smirked, taking advantage of his blind state, elbowed him in the gut, followed by a roundhouse kick to the back of his head, thus knocking him out. "This match is done. Naruto is the winner," Iruka declared. A majority of the male students applauded Naruto for finally putting the pain on Sasuke, who's always made them look bad just because of his popularity. While nearly half the female students were furious to see their beloved Uchiha messed up by someone like Naruto. Well, class, that about does it for today. Iruka said as he took Sasuke to the hospital to recover. Naruto was ready to leave only to face the obsessive fangirls. Could you girls move? I have places to be. Your place to be will be in the hospital when we're done with you. Sakura threatened him. You girls are all bark and no bite. Naruto replied. The girls growled. Now you're going to get it. Sakura shouted. So it's a chase you want? Fine, you could lose a few pounds anyway. Naruto replied. The guys looked horrified, knowing it's taboo to tell a fangirl to lose weight. That's basically calling them fat. You are so dead. Sakura looked red as hell along with the other fangirls ready to take off after him. Bye girls, gotta run. Naruto called as he took off. The girls raced after him, while Naruto ran without any worry about the girls planning to kill him. Naruto smirked as he turned a corner. The girls followed him but revealed that he hid himself in a shadowy corner of a shop on that corner. They're too easy. He said to himself. Yeah, they can be like that. Another voice said. Naruto spun and faced Ino. To his surprise, Ino. That's my name. Ino replied. Why'd you follow me? Well, I kinda wanted to know more about you. Like what was with that armor and title, along with those skills you used on Sasuke. Ino answered. Well, I'm not sure. Naruto said, not sure if he should talk about Sake and the Foot Clan. Please, Naruto, Ino begged as she clasped his hands with hers. I won't tell anybody, trust me. She begged him. Naruto looked into Ino's eyes and could tell she meant it. He smiled and answered, all right, but follow me. Naruto said as Ino followed. Naruto led Ino to the spot in the forest and opened the underground entrance and took her down along with closing the entrance so no one would follow. Wow, Ino gasped as Naruto led her to the Foot Clan training temple. What is this place? Ino gasped, looking all around the temple. This is the underground base of the Foot Clan. Naruto answered. The Foot Clan. Ino was confused. Yes, an old Konoha elite ninja clan trained in a very old art of ninjutsu. Their leader was Oroku Sake. Naruto motioned to Oroku Sake's statue that Ino looked up at in amaze. Amazing. Ino said in awe. Yes. Sake was one of Konoha's skilled warriors and an 8th generation master of ninjutsu. Naruto explained. If he's this great, how come we were never told about him? Ino asked. My only hunch is the people during Sake's time kept him hushed up from the new generation, or at least not from the elders, for fear someone may try to find this place. Naruto explained. But you found it. Ino reminded him. I did. At first I thought it was by accident, Naruto began, but over time I thought maybe it was meant to be. Meant to be. Yes, I feel as if I was destined to find Sake's old temple so I can continue the Shredder's legacy and bring forth a new Foot Clan. Naruto explained. And you really think you can do it? I'm sure of it. In fact, I think I'm the only one who can do it, Naruto said. He looked up at Sake's statue. To have Oroku Sake's legacy be forgotten would dishonor his past. Ino smiled. Well, I hope you succeed in that, Naruto. Thanks, Ino. Hey, you want me to teach you some Foot Clan moves? Naruto offered her. You'd do that? Ino asked, surprised. Naruto nodded and Ino smiled, signaling she'd like that. Soon, for the next few hours, Naruto and Ino were sparring in hand-to-hand combat, with Naruto being Ino's sensei. At first, Ino wasn't proving to be good at hand-to-hand, but soon enough she started getting the hang of it. When it was nighttime, Naruto brought Ino back to her home at Yamanaka Florists. Thanks for walking me home, Naruto, but you didn't have to do that. Ino said. Oh, I know. It's just I wouldn't want you running into any more drunks again. Naruto joked. You clown. Ino chuckled. Well, I guess this is it. Naruto said, knowing he doesn't have to guard her anymore. Yep. Ino nodded. Oh, that's right. I'll be back, Ino said, rushing inside, and he waited a minute before she came back out. She motioned Naruto to come closer. Curiously, he did so. I want to give you this, Ino said, putting something on Naruto's left lapel of his robe right beside the foot crest symbol on that side. Naruto saw she put a rose boutonniere on his kimono, and Ino began until Naruto looked at her and surprised to see her kiss him on the cheek. Naruto blushed surprised at that sudden kiss. Ino went to the door of her family's shop and looked at Naruto one last time. Good night, Naruto-kun. She winked at him and went inside. Naruto felt his cheek where she kissed him, and at the boutonniere she put in his robe. He smiled and walked off. I think I got a girlfriend, he said to himself. Out in a training field one afternoon, an adult man with a soup bowl haircut and large eyebrows wearing a green leotard was training with 3 genin ninja. One was a boy who looked like a midget version of the man, the second was a cute girl dressed in Chinese clothes, and another boy with white eyes. Lee, Tenten, Neji, your training for the day has been completed, the adult commanded the 3. Hi Guy-sensei. The 3 replied. Now return home and rekindle your flames of youth for tomorrow's exercise, Guy instructed. They nodded, but before they could leave they felt the earth shake and a flock of birds were flying away from one area. What was that, sensei? Lee asked. I don't know, Guy answered. I'll check it out. Byakugan. Neji called as veins appeared around his eyes, and through his vision he could see not too far from them was an armor-clad figure holding a sword above his head. An intruder. His team gasped. Here in the village? Tenten asked. Proceed with caution. We don't know what this enemy is capable of, Guy instructed as they moved closer to where Neji spotted the figure. Soon they were closing in on the perpetrator, but when they got close enough while hiding in the bushes they saw who it was. Naruto was in his shredder armor wielding the sword of Tengu and sent a sonic wave blast from it and incinerated a tree. Who is that? Lee gasped until he and his team saw their sensei with a shocked look. Sensei. It can't be. That's the Shredder. The Shredder? Neji asked. The greatest warrior in the Leaf, Guy explained, but he died years ago. Then this one's a poser, Neji said. Don't rush in, let's surround him quietly, Guy said as they snuck closer. Naruto was still practicing with the sword until he felt 3 essences coming closer to him. He swung the sword, releasing another sonic wave revealing the location of 3 spies. Team Guy took a formation surrounding Naruto. All right buddy, you messed with the wrong village, Guy said, taking a stance along with his students. And you're messing with the wrong guy, because I live in this village, Naruto said in his shredder voice through his helmet. You live here? Tenten asked. Yes, Naruto said before removing his helmet, revealing to them his true face. Guy looked shocked but smiled. Well, if it isn't Naruto Uzumaki. Hey Guy-sensei. Naruto greeted him. You know this kid, sensei? Neji asked. Oh yes. I helped Naruto out a few years ago when he had trouble with the villagers, Guy explained. Lee approached Naruto. A pleasure to meet you, Naruto. I am the beautiful green beast Rock Lee, and these are my teammates Tenten and Neji. Tenten waved to Naruto while Neji just scowled, not saying a word. Naruto, I must ask, how did you acquire this suit of armor? Guy asked. Naruto, seeing Guy was a Jonin he could trust above other Jonin ninja, answered him. I found it in the old temple of its original owner Oroku Sake, founder of the Foot Clan. Oroku Sake? Tenten asked. The Foot Clan, for real? Guy asked, hoping he heard right. You've heard of this clan as well, sensei? Neji asked. Yes. Many years ago the Foot Clan was one of the most well-known masters of the art of ninjutsu, Guy explained. Their master and founder Oroku Sake, the Shredder, was a master in the art. I've studied some of their basic combat styles in my taijutsu training, but I've never seen the full style up close. Tenten was marveled at the sword Naruto was carrying and walks up to him. Please, you must tell me about this blade, she asked desperately. Well, Tenten, this is known as the Sword of Tengu, Naruto answered. Tenten's chocolate-colored eyes lit up in excitement. The legendary Sword of Tengu. She cheered and marveled at it. Perfectly sharpened metal and a handle capable of conducting electricity, she said in fangirl mode. A mysterious blade that fell from the heavens and was crafted by goblins. The force of the electrical power it held killed its very creators. Naruto smirked. You know your weapons, Tenten. Tenten smiled. I am a weapons expert. So what exactly will you be doing with the armor of Oroku Sake? Guy asked Naruto curiously. Well, sensei, I'm going to carry out the legacy of Oroku Sake and become the new Shredder, a better one, and lead my own army of foot ninjas. Naruto declared. Guy and Lee smiled to see he has thought a lot about this, while Tenten smiled to see a famed warrior's legacy carried on along with using a legendary weapon, while Neji just humphed, which didn't go unnoticed by any of them. Is there something you want to say to me? Naruto asked, frowning. You should count your blessings while they last. Neji replied. What the hell's that supposed to mean? Naruto asked, knowing he's being secretly insulted. Like someone like you could ever hope to become anything like this Shredder. Neji added. What makes you so sure? Naruto asked. Because fate has decided your downfall, meaning you're destined to fail. Neji replied calmly. Naruto in anger got into Neji's face and held up his left arm with the two blades on it to his face just to scare him. You wanna repeat that to my face, pal? Guy stepped between them. Okay, you two, that's enough. Neji, that was an uncalled for remark. Whatever. I have to go now. Neji replied coldly as he left. So what's his problem? Naruto asked Guy and his two other students. Don't feel too down, Naruto. Neji's always been that way. Guy explained. He was Rookie of the Year during our class. Tenten added. He lives by fate and destiny, believing no one can change who they are. Lee finished. Naruto frowned. Well, that doesn't give him the right to tell people that they're destined for failure. Don't let it get to you, Naruto, Lee said. He's the same way with me, but I don't let him get under my skin, and neither should you. Naruto smiles. Yeah, arigato, Lee. He turned to the other two. Well, I better get going. Tomorrow's the Genin exams and I have to prepare myself, Naruto said, putting the helmet back on. Catch you later. He leapt off in a far distance. He's so good. Lee was amazed. And he's able to wield that sword with such skill. Tenten added. Take note, you two. The Shredder was a master in combat, and if Naruto's learning his style, you can bet that he too will be skilled as him. Guy instructed and they nodded. When evening came, Naruto was drinking some tea at his kitchen table and looked at his Shredder armor. I think it's time everyone got to know the Shredder. It's been long enough of me keeping this a secret from the village. He smirked. When morning came, Naruto dressed in the Shredder armor and headed for the Ninja Academy, earning scared looks from the villagers and citizens who were passing right in front of the Ninja Academy building. He ignored them and entered the academy. When he entered the classroom, everyone turned to him in shock. What is that? Sakura gasped. Ino gasped but said nothing. What's Naruto doing in his armor? Sasuke scowled and got on the table, arming himself with a kunai. You shouldn't have come here, pal. And why not, worm? Naruto asked, playing the character of intruder. Because this academy doesn't allow intruders. Sasuke answered as the fangirls squealed. Naruto stood down. Good point, Tem, however you've failed to notice that I am not an intruder. He said, removing his helmet, revealing himself to his class. Naruto. They all gasped. See, this is how Naruto looked when he saved me that night. Ino said. Sweet looking armor, Naruto. Kiba admitted. When wearing this armor, I am known as the Shredder. Naruto explained. The Shredder? Sasuke asked. What are you, some kind of loser superhero now? No, Tem. I am a warrior learning the ancient art of ninjutsu. Naruto replied, frowning. Sasuke snickered. I'll bet whoever you're learning under was just a big a loser as you. Naruto's eyes firmed. Take that back, Tem. He said seriously. Not feeling like it, Sasuke replied arrogantly. Naruto tackled Sasuke into a wall. Take it back. He roared. Or what? Sasuke asked, not afraid. Naruto used his right hand, grabbed Sasuke by the throat and pressed him against the wall, or join your family in the afterlife. He pulled his left arm back, threatening to pierce his face with his bladed gauntlet. Naruto-kun, no, Ino shouted before grabbing his left arm and held it back. Don't do it, it's not worth it. Naruto saw what he was about to do and let him go, but not before Iruka and Mizuki arrives. What's the meaning of this? Iruka asked in outrage. Before Naruto could say anything, Sakura pushed him out of the way. Iruka-sensei, Naruto threatened to murder Sasuke-kun. She accused. What? Iruka asked in outrage and turned to Naruto. Is this true, Naruto? Yes. Well, no. You see, Sasuke insulted my training and my honor. Naruto argued back. That's no excuse for a death threat, Naruto. Iruka said. But sensei, what Sasuke said was completely uncalled for. Ino protested in Naruto's defense. I'm sorry, Ino, but Naruto shouldn't have engaged in such behavior, and as punishment, Naruto, you can't take the Genin exams. But sensei, how am I supposed to be a ninja? Naruto asked. I'm afraid you'll have to wait next year, Naruto. I'm sorry. Iruka replied as some of the students laughed at his misfortune. So much for the great Shredder. Sasuke mocked and Naruto looks back at him more furious than before. One day you will pay for mocking the legend of the Shredder, count on it. He growled before putting his helmet back on and left by breaking the door down. Ino watched depressed as Naruto left in fury. Naruto-kun. She thought sadly for him. Naruto stormed out of the ninja academy and went to the training ground, ripping several training dummies piece by piece, needing to blow off all his anger. One day they'll see just how much they've ever done me wrong. He shouted as he finally ripped up the last training dummy out of anger. Finally cooled down, Naruto? A voice asked. Naruto turned and saw Mizuki, the other academy sensei. Oh, what are you doing here? I know you didn't mean what you said to Sasuke, and Iruka didn't mean to be harsh on you. Mizuki said, smiling. Yeah, right, he's always favored everyone over me. Naruto grumbled. Tell you what, how about I help you pass the Genin exams another way? Mizuki asked, catching his attention. Another way? Naruto asked in interest. Yes, you have to snatch the scroll of forbidden jutsus, learn something from it and you'll pass. Mizuki explained. Naruto smiled. Cool. Mizuki smirked as Naruto left. When nighttime came, the shinobi were in an uproar hearing that someone wearing bladed armor stole the forbidden scroll. Sarutobi stated that it was Naruto and they all went looking for him but was ordered to not harm him. Meanwhile, Naruto was in the forest reading from the forbidden scroll. I think that jutsu will do me some good with my techniques. Naruto smiled underneath his helmet. Naruto. A voice called and Iruka dropped in, frowning. Evening, Iruka-sensei. Naruto said calmly. Don't give me that evening stuff. Iruka said. Don't you realize what you did? Yes, by learning a jutsu from this scroll I will have made Genin right. What? Who told you that? Iruka asked, confused. Mizuki-sensei, of course. Naruto answered. Mizuki. Iruka gasped, wondering why he'd do this until he realized what this meant. Naruto down. Iruka shouted as a giant shuriken almost nailed both of them. They looked up, seeing it came from Mizuki standing on a tree branch. So you decided to join us, Iruka? Mizuki, what is the meaning of this? Iruka demanded. Let's just say, Iruka, that I know plenty of people who'd pay me very well for that scroll, Mizuki answered. Naruto, give the scroll to me, Iruka will only turn you in. No, Naruto, Mizuki's a traitor, don't listen to him. Iruka ordered the Shredder boy. Naruto, give it to me and I'll let you in on a little secret concerning you. Mizuki grabbed Naruto's attention. Secret? Naruto asked. Mizuki, don't you dare. Iruka shouts, only to earn a kunai hit in his shoulder. The truth is, the Kyuubi kitsune that attacked our village 13 years ago wasn't killed by the Yondaime, instead it was sealed inside a child the night it was born, Mizuki began. That baby was you, Naruto. In other words, you are the nine-tailed fox demon that killed so many of Kana's shinobi years ago. The same fox that killed our Yondaime Hokage. He ranted loudly. Iruka looked to Naruto but couldn't tell what he was thinking due to him wearing the helmet on his head. Is that all you have to say, worm? Naruto shouted. What? Iruka and Mizuki were confused. Because you wanna know the truth as well. Naruto asked. I've known about the Kyuubi months ago. I discovered his essence while I was meditating and focusing my chakra. He told me everything that happened, and you know what else he was set up. So don't make him out to be the monster everyone thinks he is. Otherwise you'll be broken in half. Naruto shouted, launching from his spot, taking Mizuki head on. Naruto fought Mizuki using his bladed gauntlet to strike at Mizuki, however using his giant shuriken Mizuki was able to block Naruto's attacks. Your moves are pitiful, Kyuubi, and you actually claim to be the new Shredder. Mizuki taunted him. I am the new Shredder. Naruto shouted, and don't you forget it. Naruto goes all out against Mizuki using his ninjutsu moves, knocking the shuriken out of his hand, thus disarming him, and slashed his chest with his bladed gauntlet, putting 2 cuts in the traitor's chest. Mizuki frowned, looking at Naruto in the eyes beneath his helmet. You're dead. He shouts, running for him only to have his arms grabbed by Naruto's right hand together and was spun around. And you're done telling me what to do. He threw Mizuki into a tree. I should do this village a favor and finish you, but I'm not interested in killing tonight. So instead I'll show you a move that I just learned, a move that not even the original Shredder knew. He formed some hand signs, Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. He shouted, and in a poof of smoke, thousands of Shredder clones appeared at the original's side. Shadow clones. Iruka gasped. You mean they're solid? Mizuki feared, knowing that many clones decked out in that many blades spelled trouble. The Shredder Naruto and his clones got ready. Shredder's attack. Naruto, Shredder commanded, and they all charged with a battle cry at Mizuki, who was shielding himself with his hands. Not in the face, not in the face. He cried before screaming. When morning rose, the Shredder shadow clones were gone, with the original Naruto, Shredder standing before an unconscious Mizuki with razor cuts throughout his uniform and a bruised face. Naruto nodded, knowing that until he remembered his real sensei, Iruka sensei. He ran back to the tree Iruka was resting against. As he made it to him, he threw off his helmet so Iruka could see his real face. Are you okay, sensei? Yes, I'll be fine, Naruto, Iruka said and looked at him. And Naruto, I'm sorry. I'm responsible for getting you into this. But you were right. I shouldn't have reacted that way in class, Naruto said. Well, another year won't kill me. On the contrary, Naruto, you won't have to wait. Iruka smiled. What do I mean? Naruto asked. Iruka smiled, removing his headband. For not only stopping Mizuki but learning a Jonin technique as well. You deserve to have one of these. He handed it to him. Naruto started shedding some tears. Wow, thanks, Iruka sensei. He smiled and thought of something. He removes the head plate from the blue fabric and embedded the metal plate with the leaf symbol on his armor's belt while he tied the blue fabric around his forehead, wearing it like a regular headband. Iruka smiled to see that he's finally earned his place as a ninja. Now Konoha, get ready, for the one true Shredder is finally in the ranks. Naruto pumped his arms up. The night before the Genin selections, various clan heads and Jonin were waiting to hear how it'll go, but more importantly they were to discuss Naruto. Sarutobi, this armor Naruto now wears along with the crest, has he truly discovered the secret of Orokusake? Homura asked the Hokage. Yes, Homura, Naruto has indeed discovered the abilities and ancient art of the Foot Clan. Sarutobi nodded. And why didn't you confiscate it from him? Danzo the War Hawk demanded. Because it wasn't my place to do so. Sarutobi replied calmly. You're the Hokage, it was most certainly your place. Danzo shouted. Danzo. Sarutobi barked and the old one-armed man sat back down. Well, Saru, what do you intend on doing about it? Koharu asked. Naruto has learned the ways of the Foot Clan very well. In fact, he just may be better than Sake himself, Sarutobi answered. Danzo huffed, refusing to accept that. Anyway, like the other genin, he too will be placed in a squad with the other genin of the academy. 3 Jonin senseis known as Kakashi Hatake, Asuma Sarutobi, and Kurenai Yuhi approach the Hokage, Kakashi, Asuma, and Kurenai. You 3 are selected as this year's new squad senseis. Therefore you three are allowed to select first. The three Jonins look over the academy students' profiles, studying them carefully. I've reached my decision, Kakashi started. Aside from Uchiha Sasuke, I shall be taking Yamanaka Ino, as well as Uzumaki Naruto. Everyone looked at his choice. You really want the new Shredder on your team badly, don't you? Asuma asked. I owe it to someone, Kakashi said as an image of his sensei appeared in his thoughts. Very well then, Yamanaka Inoichi, have you any problems with this? Sarutobi asked Ino's father. Not at all, Hokage-sama. I'm actually proud to see my daughter put on a team with a modeled shinobi. Inoichi answered. Yes, the Uchiha is one of the best, Danzo said with a smirk. Not him, Inoichi interrupted. I'm talking about Naruto. Why would you not have a problem with your own daughter on the same team as that? Danzo started but couldn't finish his sentence due to a glare from Sarutobi. Danzo, you will watch your tongue in this building, Sarutobi said, and Danzo zipped the lip. Anyway, Kurenai, Asuma, have you made your decision? Sarutobi asked. Hi, they answered. I'll be taking Nara Shikamaru, Haruno Sakura, and Akamichi Choji, Asuma said. The heads of the Nara and Akamichi clans had no problem, while the Haruno, which was actually a civilian family, preferred to have their daughter put with Sasuke, thinking that would grant them special privileges if they were with the last of the Uchiha clan. And I, Kurenai, will take Hyuga Hinata, Aburame Shino, and Inuzuka Kiba. The Inuzuka and Aburame heads had no problem with it, while Hyuga Hiyashi didn't care. Very well, tomorrow you will meet with your assigned teams, Sarutobi said, and dismissed everyone. The very next morning Naruto woke up and stretched. Today's the big day, he said as he headed for the shower, and minutes later came out clean. After he had breakfast, he donned his foot kimono and sandals and stood looking at his shredder armor and the new leaf plate on the chest. Time to go, he smirked. He was then seen running across the rooftops in his shredder outfit, making his way to the academy. He soon landed outside, looking up at the academy building. Well, this may be the last time I come here for a while, Shredder Naruto said. He walked inside, and when he entered the room, the students looked to him. Naruto, what are you doing here? Weren't you banned from taking the exam this year? Shikamaru asked. Change in plans, Shikamaru. Iruka-sensei saw it was a misunderstanding, Shredder Naruto began, and I stopped Mizuki from betraying the village and learning a Jonin technique in the process. Seriously? Shikamaru asked. Wow, which one? Ino asked, interested. The Shadow Clone Jutsu, a clone jutsu more advanced than the regular one, Shredder explained. Sasuke huffed. Like we're supposed to believe that coming from you? He asked until he looked up, seeing Shredder Naruto helmet to face with him. I don't expect you to believe anything, Tem, but I want you to know that if you ever insult Master Sake or the Foot Clan again, I'll make certain that you never make it to adulthood, Shredder Naruto warned him. Naruto, stop glaring at Sasuke-kun, Sakura shouted at Naruto with the other fan girls behind her. Naruto turned to face them, glaring. You dare order the one true Shredder? He shouted, forcing them to back away in fright. Naruto knew not to threaten anyone with death on this day, for it'll probably make him immediately disqualified. So he just sat down next to Ino. Later on, Iruka came in with a smile. Well, class, it's been fun teaching you, but now it's time you moved on and become full-time ninja. And now I would like to award this year's Rookie of the Year, he said, and Sasuke smirked, confident it would be him. And this year's Rookie of the Year award goes to Naruto Uzumaki, the new Shredder. Sasuke's jaw dropped and the fangirls were shocked as well. Naruto stood up and walked to Iruka, taking the award from Iruka, Arigato-sensei. Shredder Naruto bowed his head before returning to his seat. Naruto-kun, Ino began, and he turned to her, seeing her smiling. Good job, she said, and he smiled beneath his helmet. And now class 1 will read off the squad numbers and Jonin senseis. Iruka began and read off various names until he reached squad 7. Squad 7 will be composed of Naruto Uzumaki, Ino Yamanaka, and Sasuke Uchiha, your squad leader will Kakashi Hatake. Naruto felt glad that he was paired with someone who liked him, but not so thrilled about being with Sasuke, Iruka-sensei. Naruto got up. Why must I be placed on a team with this selfish cretin? He pointed to Sasuke, who didn't even bother to face him. I'm sorry, Naruto, but this is how it was sorted. Iruka explained, and Naruto frowned beneath his helmet. Don't get in my way, Dobi. Sasuke muttered, but Naruto heard anyway and raised his bladed gauntlet at him. Mind your tongue, Tem. Naruto warned him until Ino held his arm and pulled him back into his seat so he wouldn't get into trouble. Continuing Squad 8 under Kurenai Yuhi will be Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, and Hinata Hyuga. Iruka read off and the three students looked up and at each other. Following Squad 9 he read off Squad 10, and finally Squad 10 shall consist of Sakura Haruno, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akamichi. Shikamaru sighed about it being troublesome, while Choji ate from his bag of chips, and Sakura was complaining, well, your senseis should arrive soon, so good luck and make Konoha proud. Iruka said as he left. Hours have gone by and the only ones left in the room were Naruto, Ino, and Sasuke. Ino and Sasuke were just sitting at the desks while Naruto was practicing his ninjutsu while he waited. Soon the door opened and in came Kakashi. Well, look who decided to show up. Naruto said. Kakashi looked at Naruto and how he looked wearing the shredder armor, but what really had him was the voice his helmet made it sound like. Yeah, well, I sorta lost track of time. Anyway, let's meet on the roof in 10, Kakashi said. Soon in 10 minutes Naruto, Ino, and Sasuke were on the roof with Kakashi. Now then, let's start with introductions. Introductions, sensei. Ino asked. Name, likes, dislikes, hobbies, plans for the future. Kakashi read off some examples. Well, why don't you go first? Naruto suggested. Very well. My name's Kakashi Hatake, he began. My likes I cannot share with you. I have many dislikes, I have lots of hobbies, and plans for the future. Well, I never really thought about it. All we got was his name. The three thought. Okay, now for all of you, starting with the armored one. Kakashi motioned to Naruto. Very well. My name's Naruto Uzumaki, or now more commonly now known as the Shredder. I like ramen, herbal tea, training, and my friends. Naruto started. My dislikes include when somebody mocks the Foot Clan or its founder, and people who judge others before they get to know them. My hobbies include training, relaxing, and exercising. My dream for the future is to one day surpass my predecessor Oroku Sake and be a better shredder, along with starting my own ninja land and train a new army of foot soldiers. Kakashi thought. He sure has given this a lot of thought. He turned to Ino. Now you. Ino Yamanaka. I like flowers. Naruto-kun, my family. I dislike forehead girl, the other fan girls, and those who abuse flowers. My hobbies include flower arranging and shopping. My dream for the future is to probably take over the family business and become a wife and mother. Well, she's sure thought about her future. Kakashi thought and looked to Sasuke. And you on the end. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I hate a lot of things, and I don't like anything. Sasuke started as he brooded. My dream is more like an ambition. I'm going to restore my clan and destroy a certain someone. He said firmly. As expected, Kakashi thought and spoke up. All right then, starting tomorrow we'll put you three to a test. Hold on, didn't we already pass? Ino asked. The Genin exams were just to see if you had what it takes to meet shinobi standards. My test will determine if you're ready to actually be one, Kakashi explained. We will meet tomorrow at the old training ground. Oh, and don't bother eating breakfast, you'll throw it up, he said, earning cringes from Naruto and Ino. Until tomorrow, he said, vanishing in a shunshin. Later, Sasuke said, walking off. See you tomorrow. Ino waved by. Well, I better go too. Naruto said, about to take off. Naruto-kun, wait. Ino stopped him. Yes. Naruto asked. Would you like to join me for a bite? Ino offered. Naruto smiled beneath his helmet. Sure. Soon Naruto and Ino were at the Amaguriyama dango shop. They sat on a bench and ate some dango. Naruto of course had his helmet off in order to eat. Man, this stuff is good. Naruto said, taking a bite. Yeah, it's my favorite place to go. Ino added. So you feel up for tomorrow's exam? Naruto asked. I sure hope so. Who knows what sensei will do to test us? Ino trembled. Naruto smiled. Well, let's hope for the best. I mean, we came this far, didn't we? Ino nodded. Yeah, I'm glad you're on my team, Ino. Naruto smiled. Me to Naruto-kun. Ino smiled as the two moved closer. Ino. Naruto whispered. Naruto-kun. Ino whispered back. Soon the two got close enough and kissed, which lasted for a few minutes before they broke. Wow, you're good. Naruto said. Ino blushed from that comment. Arigato, you're not so bad yourself, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled from her compliment, and suddenly a cat mask wearing Anbu appeared. Naruto Uzumaki, the Hokage, requests your company. Naruto sighed. Okay, I'm coming. Sorry, Ino, but I guess I got to go. Ino smiled and pecked him on the cheek. Don't worry, I'll see you tomorrow. She hurried off for home. Naruto put his helmet back on and headed for the Hokage administration building. When he arrived, he removed his helmet and presented himself in front of the Hokage. What's the buzz, Gigi? Naruto asked. Naruto, I feel it's time you knew the total truth about the Kyuubi. Sarutobi said. Total truth? You mean the Yondaime sealed more than Kyuubi in me? Naruto asked. Not that. You see, the Yondaime was your father. Naruto stood in shock. What the hell did you say? Minato Namikaze is your father, Naruto. Sarutobi repeated himself. There was a brief pause until Naruto shouted, What? Which shook Konoha. Naruto, calm yourself. Sarutobi tried to calm the new shredder. How am I supposed to calm down when I find out not only was the Kyuubi put in me, but by my own dad? I know you have every right to be furious, but you must understand Minato couldn't ask anyone else to sacrifice their child. Sarutobi explained. He chose you because he felt you would be the one strong enough to contain it. Naruto calmed down and listened. He really believed that. Sarutobi nods. Yes, in fact he left this scroll for you. He asked me to give it to you when the time was right. He handed Naruto unraveled it and read its content. Dear Naruto, my son, if you are reading this, then this means that the sealing went as I planned it and I perished. My name is Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, and your father. I won't blame you if you feel hatred at me for what I caused you, but you must understand, as the Hokage, I couldn't ask someone else to sacrifice their child, not if I had my own. Your mother was Kushina Uzumaki. She came from the Whirlpool country that has been gone for many years due to war. It was unfortunate she died after giving birth to you. She always looked forward to being a mother. I had hoped you'd be seen as a hero of this village for keeping the Kyuubi locked away, but I'm certain I am wrong. This village and its people are too blind and self-absorbed to see past anything. Anyway, I don't have much time left, the Kyuubi is getting closer. I wish to let you know, my son, that I love you, and that no matter what, I will always love you and be proud of you. Also, old man Sarutobi has the keys to my old home. I made him promise to keep it safe and not be demolished. I want you to live there from now on. Inside my home you'll also find all you'll need, including my private study containing all knowledge of my jutsus. But be warned about telling people your true last name. I had many enemies, especially from Iowa. I'm truly sorry, my son, but I must end this now. I love you, Naruto, and I hope that you will understand why I did what I did, and hope that one day you'll be able to forgive me. And also, son, grow up to be a fine shinobi, Naruto Namikaze. With love, Minato Namikaze, Yondaime Hokage. Oh dad. Naruto gasped as he finished reading. Well, Naruto, shall we go to your new home? Sarutobi asked the boy. Yeah, let's go. Naruto nodded and the Hokage stood beside him, and in a shunshin they reappeared outside a large mansion. Whoa, this is Dad's place. Yes, it's yours now, Naruto. The old man says as he leads Naruto inside the house. When Naruto looks around him, he first saw a garden that showed off life and wonder that you'd only find in a regular forest. The garden was neat and filled with all kinds of flowers, some regular, exotic, and some that don't grow anywhere else. Sarutobi led Naruto inside his mansion, and the inside was big and tall, with the lobby painted yellow. On the wall were pictures of his mother and father, his dad's old squad, and him with an old white-haired man and the Hokage. There were stairwells leading to upstairs, and on the first floor were hallways leading to several other rooms. Well, Naruto, welcome to your new home, Sarutobi said as Naruto looked around, marveled by the layout of the lobby alone. Whoa! Naruto gasped as he stood in the center of the lobby and threw his arms up in the air, cheering, "Oh, I'm gonna love this." He cheered wildly as he looked around the place, marveling at it. As he went into some nearby rooms, "Oh yeah, all this is really mine now." Naruto stopped running and asked the old man, who nodded with a smile. Excellent. Well, time to get the layout of this place. He formed some hand signs, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. He shouted, summoning a dozen of clones. Okay fellas, split up and get to know the layout of the place, and once you do, dispel yourselves. He ordered his clones that nodded and took off into the building, with each of them going in separate directions. Within minutes he felt the clones dispel and all their knowledge transferred back to the real him. With that, he now knew the layout of the whole mansion. Good, I got it all memorized. I hope you enjoy your stay here, Naruto, Sarutobi said. I sure will, Gigi, because I'm going to add a little Foot Clan touch to this place. Naruto smirked. Later that evening at the Yamanaka residence, Ino was having dinner with her family. So Ino, how was the squad selections? Inoichi asked. Well, I got paired up with Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki. Ino answered. You don't say. Her mother said. I hope that's not a problem with you too. Ino said, worried. No problem at all. In fact, we couldn't ask for anyone better. Inoichi said. Well, Sasuke's okay, but I'm glad I have Naruto on my team. Ino said. You seem fond of him. Ino's mom noted in a teasing manner. Well, Ino blushed. Oh, how cute. Sweetie, you're growing up so fast. Her father teased her. I need to be excused. Ino said, bolting from the table to avoid her teasing parents. Back at the Namikaze mansion, Naruto had already moved everything from his apartment to the mansion. He added the Foot Clan designs in numerous rooms so that when people entered they'd know that this was the sanctity of the Shredder. And in the lobby he set up 2 replicated statues of Oroku Sake without his armor, and wearing the Shredder armor, standing by the stairwell like guards. Naruto was in his new bedroom, once belonging to his father. It had a huge king-sized bed with tall bed knobs. The bed sheets were silk with red and black design like fire. It had about 5 pillows with the same design as the sheets. The walls of the bedroom were colored in red-orange color. There were a wooden bedside table on the right side of the bed with a golden handle, while the top was covered in crystal clear glass. On the left side was a mini bar. There was a couch on the opposite wall of the one the bed was against, with a coffee table with wooden coasters on it. There were multiple red rugs in flame design set up on the floor, tapestries hanging on the walls, one with the symbol of the Fire Nation, and another with the Foot Clan on it. There was another door on the other side of his room which led to his private bathroom that had black and white marble floor tiles. A huge jacuzzi tub, a toilet with a cushioned seat cover, a huge sink with a vanity mirror, and a huge shower stall which seemed big enough to be a steam room, with 4 golden shower heads that hung on the walls from all 4 corners. Naruto was wearing a robe as he walked to his bed and plopped on it, getting a better look seeing as how big it really was. He slid under the covers and laid his head back on the pillows. Well, time for sleep. This has been a wild day, let me tell ya, he said to himself as he fell asleep. When morning came, Naruto had got up, showered, changed, and ate before slipping into his Shredder armor, grabbing the sword of Tengu and headed off to the training ground. When he arrived, he saw Sasuke and Ino there but no sign of Kakashi. He isn't here yet, he asked. They shook their heads and Naruto sighed. Why did I see this coming? Soon after 3 hours of waiting, Kakashi suddenly appeared. Yo! You're late, Naruto shouted, glaring at him through his helmet. Sorry about that, I met an old lady who needed help carrying her groceries. Kakashi cringes. Yeah right. Ino could see through the lie. Anyway, Kakashi cleared his throat. The test shall begin. Your mission is to take these bells from me. He held up 2 bells. Should you get the bells from me, you will be acknowledged by me as being part of my squad. Kakashi answered. But hold on, why are there only 2? Ino asked, and the boys noticed as well. That's the next part. The one who does not get a bell will be sent back to the academy, Kakashi answered, which shocked everyone. However, you will be timed on this, and when time runs out and neither of you require a bell, then you'll all be sent back to the academy. You gotta be kidding me. Naruto sighed. Terrific, Sasuke added in sarcasm. I don't like this. Ino sighed. Kakashi set a timer on a stump. To get a bell, you'll have to come at me with the intent to kill. He started the timer. Go. The 3 genin went to hide their presence and watched from multiple angles. Naruto watched and pondered. Something isn't right. There's never been a 2 genin squad under a Jonin's care. So why would he do this to us? He thought until he realized. That's it. He's diving us up so he can pick us off one by one. I gotta warn Ino and Sasuke, he thought before going to them. Ino, Sasuke, we haven't much time, so listen up. What is it? You know we're being timed, remember? Sasuke asked. I figured out what's going on, Naruto said. What are you talking about? Ino asked. Kakashi sensei is trying to break us up, Naruto explained. Break us up? Sasuke asked. Yes, he's using 2 bells to make us turn on each other, Naruto continued. Think about it, no squad can be less than 3. If we wanna get through this, we have to work together, and by together I mean all 3 of us, including you, Sasuke. Sasuke raised a brow as Naruto continued. I know you have a goal in mind, but until then you're stuck with us, so deal with that fact and help me and Ino. We need you. Sasuke thought about this and finally gave in. What should we do? We'll need to distract him. You and I will take him head on, Naruto started explaining. And Ino, when we got him cornered, use your mind transfer jutsu. Ino nodded. Okay, but you'll have to make sure he's very still, because if I miss I won't be able to return to my body for a while. Gotcha. Come on, Sasuke, Naruto said as they took off. They exposed themselves, charging for Kakashi. You're taking me head on? Kakashi asked. Because we know with our efforts we can take you, Naruto called as he grabbed the Tengu blade. Let me show you the true might of the Shredder, he said, firing a sonic blast from the weapon, forcing Kakashi to evade, and saw Sasuke blow fire at him. Kakashi barely avoided the blast of fire and Naruto took him head on, leading to them grappling. Well, seems you've learned a lot about Saki's style, Kakashi said. Arigato sensei, Naruto said as he and Sasuke went hand to hand with Kakashi. Their combined efforts are amazing. They truly do make quite a tag team, Kakashi thought. Wait a minute, where's Ino? He suddenly realized what was going on but was too late. Ninpo, Shintenshin no Jutsu, she said, and her spirit left her body and Kakashi froze. They looked at Kakashi, who spoke with Ino's voice. Mind transfer a success, she said, and gives them the bells. We did it. Naruto pumped his left arm up. Sasuke smirked, having to admit he did enjoy fighting alongside them. Well, time to release sensei. Naruto-kun, could you bring my body over here? She asked. Naruto goes and brought Ino's lifeless body over and sat it down. Ino released herself from Kakashi and woke up in her own body. Kakashi rubbed his head. So that's what it's like getting hit with the mind transfer jutsu, he said. He saw they had both bells and smiled. Well, you 3 got both bells. I guess you managed to see through what I had hoped would have tricked you. Well, we almost did until we realized about how no squad can have less than 3 genin. Naruto said. I'm glad you've learned to look underneath the underneath. Kakashi smiled to them. Congratulations on passing Squad 7 is now officially formed. Yeah, Naruto and Ino cheer while Sasuke smirked. And before you leave, I have a bit of advice to you that was passed on from an old friend of mine, Kakashi began. Those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. He said before leaving. Very deep. Ino said. You said it. Naruto agreed. Well, I'm off. See you two later. Sasuke said, about to leave. Wait. Sasuke. Naruto called and the Uchiha turned around. We make a pretty good team, don't we? Sasuke smirked. Yeah. He agreed and continued on. Naruto looked up to the sky. I hope I made you proud, Dad. I really hope I did. Meanwhile, in the afterlife, Minato's Namikaze watched his son until another figure approached him. It was the deceased spirit of Oroku Sake the Shredder. Your son is truly an outstanding individual, Minato Namikaze. Sake said. He sure is, Sake. He sure is. Minato nodded, knowing his son's going to make something big of himself. One day Naruto was in his mansion's dojo practicing the Foot Clan techniques while wearing his Shredder armor. After he finished practicing with the Tengu sword, he took a break and drank some bottled water. Now that I'm a full-time ninja, I have to keep my strength up more than ever, he said to himself and looked at the Foot Clan symbol on the wall. I wonder how many other outside nations know of the Shredder's legacy. He wondered to himself until an Anbu appeared in the dojo. Naruto Uzumaki. The Anbu addressed. Yes, what is it? Naruto asked. The Hokage requests your company immediately. The Anbu said before leaving. Naruto looked curious. Wonder what's up? He asked himself as he dons his helmet and hurries out. When he reached the Hokage's office, he saw his whole team was there as well. You guys were called here too? Yup. Ino answered. So what's the situation? Naruto asked the Hokage. The Hokage cleared his throat. Well, Naruto, since you and your squad have successfully completed the required D-rank missions. Don't remind me, Naruto interrupted. How's it going to look with the new Shredder going around doing menial labor? Maybe you shouldn't wear your armor on D-rank missions then. Sasuke suggested. I never go on a mission without my armor. After all, you never know what might happen. Naruto said. Sarutobi cleared his throat. Now, as I was saying, since you've completed the required D-rank missions, I've decided to award your squad with a C-rank mission. C-rank? Naruto gasped. No way. Sasuke gasped. All right. Ino cheered. So what's the mission, Hokage-sama? Kakashi asked, wanting to know the details. A simple escort mission to the Wave Country. Sarutobi explained. The Wave Country? That far? Naruto asked. So who are we escorting? Ino asked. Me, little missy. A voice said. They turned to see an old man with a sake bottle in his hand. My name's Tazuna, I'm a bridge builder from the Wave Country. I came here to get some supplies to help build a bridge I'm working on back home, and now I need protection now that I'm going back. Well, if it's protection you need, you can count on Squad 7. Naruto said. Trust my student, you'll be very safe with us around. Kakashi said. All right then, if you say so. Squad 7, return home and pack the essentials. Let's meet at the village gates in 30 minutes. Kakashi ordered, and his 3 students took off back to their homes. Back at the Namikaze mansion, Naruto finished packing all the essentials he needed and finally strapped the Tengu sword onto his back. All right, I'm ready. Naruto said, putting his helmet back on before taking off. He met up at the village gates with his squad and Tazuna. About time you made it, Naruto. Sasuke said. Oh, shut up. Naruto said, not wanting to get lectured. All right, now that we're all here, let's be on our way. Kakashi orders and they head off. 2 hours passed since they left the village gates. They were walking down a road surrounded by forest areas. Naruto was walking along with Ino and Sasuke up front and Kakashi and Tazuna behind them. Tazuna whispers to Kakashi, What's up with that one kid in the armor? Naruto. Well, let's just say he's idolized an old forgotten warrior who was one of the ninja land's most notorious warriors. I see. Tazuna replied. Back with the genin, Sasuke talked to Naruto. Don't you ever feel hot wearing all that armor and that helmet, Naruto? Sometimes. I'm more concerned about this armor becoming a part of my skin. Like if I wear it for so long it'll never come off. Naruto joked. That would sure be a problem. Ino said. Yeah, especially if I needed to use the bathroom. Naruto joked. Sasuke looked disturbed by Naruto making a bathroom joke, finding that disgusting. They continued to walk until Kakashi noticed a puddle of water on the side of the road. A puddle on a bright sunny day like this. He thought until he shouted, Squad 7, protect Tazuna. Shocked by his cry, the squad formed a protective ring around the bridge builder. They soon saw a camouflaged cloaked man with a gas mask emerge from the puddle and moved to attack Kakashi. We got you now, the figure called. Another figure dressed similar to the first one came at Kakashi's back, and the two released spiked chains from their giant-sized gauntlets and binded Kakashi. Sensei. The squad gasped. The two assassins tugged on their chains, binding Kakashi more until poof, he vanished. Kawarimi. One of the figures gasped, and they saw Kakashi delivering a roundhouse kick. The two gained some distance so the attack didn't reach them. They backed up a bit and started the Konoha ninjas down. Who are they? Ino asked. They're the Oni brothers, Ino. Kakashi answered. Oni brothers? Sasuke asked. Yes. Maizu and Guzu Nuke Nin from the Mist Country. Why would Nuke Nin like you be all the way out here? Naruto asked. We've got orders from our employer to dispose of the bridge builder. Maizu answered. So stand aside and we just might spare you. Guzu added. Naruto tightened his eyes beneath his helmet. Spare this, worms. Naruto grabbed the Tengu blade, powering it up and swung it, releasing a blast above them. You missed. Maizu said. Did I? Naruto asked. Suddenly a huge tree branch they were right under fell on them, nailing their heads, knocking them out cold. Got them. Naruto said, putting the sword back on his back. That's good work everyone in protecting the merchant. And now Tazuna, you have some explaining to do. The genin looked to the bridge builder, wondering what was up. You knew you'd be targeted by Nuke Nin, didn't you? Kakashi questioned the old man. Tazuna saw he had no choice but to come clean. Yes, but I had a reason for deceiving you all. The land of waves is poverty-stricken. I couldn't afford anything higher than AC rank. We used to be a happy country, but that all changed when a man by the name of Gato came to the land. Gato? Ino wondered. Are you talking about the owner of Gato Shippings? Kakashi asked. The very same. Tazuna nodded. So who is this guy? Sasuke asked. The owner of a shipping and distributing company from the Wave Country. Kakashi explained. So what's he want? Naruto asked. He's a greedy con man who forces people to rely on his industry, so he can charge ya at unfair prices. Anyone who tried to fight him ended up dead, Tazuna said, earning freaked out looks from Ino. That's why I have to get to finish the bridge I'm building, because he controls the waters around the land. By bypassing the waters we won't be forced to rely on him anymore. What should we do, sensei? Ino asked Kakashi, who started thinking about the situation. He sighed, giving in. Very well. We'll stay and protect you for the time it takes you to build the bridge. Arigato, you have no idea how much this means to me. Tazuna thanked them almost like he was going to cry. Well, come on, let's continue. Naruto said as they continued on. Meanwhile, far away, at the Wave Country, in a forest, a compound, was a midget man who was meeting someone who was in the shadows. My men have informed me that your partners, the Oni brothers, have failed in disposing of the bridge builder. I'm not broken up about it, the figure in the shadows said. They were indisposable. One of my spies who watched them saw they were defeated by ninja from Konoha. The midget continued. Konoha, you say? It's been a long time since I've killed someone from there. The figure said. And one of them appeared to have been decked out in some kind of armor covered in blades. The midget added, catching the other's attention. Armor covered in blades? He asked. Yeah, and carrying some sword that controlled lighting or something. He added, making the other figure look interested. The sword of Tengu. He gasped. You've heard of it? The midget asked. Indeed I have, Gato, the guy said as he stuck out a giant sword out of the shadows. Looks like I'll be able to test my skills against the famed shredder. He snickered. After being dropped off via ferry, the squad found themselves in the wave country. They walked down a path in a forest area while Naruto kept his eyes opened and alert at all times. Once we reach my home we can rest there. Tazuna explained. Good. Until then let's just continue on. Kakashi said until Naruto stopped in front holding his arms out to stop them. Naruto. Ino wondered. What are you stopping for? Sasuke asked. Naruto motions them to keep quiet and points to a bush motioning that something's watching them from there. He grabs a kunai from a hidden compartment in his armor and throws it into the bush and out popped a white rabbit looking terrified from almost getting hit with a kunai. A rabbit? Ino asked. What a relief. Naruto sighed. Kakashi looked at the rabbit carefully and thought, a pure white rabbit in the middle of this year. He suddenly realized the rabbit was a decoy for a trap. Everyone get down. They all dropped as a giant sword swung like a boomerang and nails a tree. What was that? Ino gasped. Where'd that come from? Sasuke asked. From me. A voice said, and appearing on top of the sword's hilt was a tall man wearing brown and white camouflage pants, and arm covers, a mist village headband, and white cloth wrapped around his mouth and nose. Another assassin, Kakashi said to himself by speaking out loud, judging from that sword and that headband you're Momochi Zabuza. Yes, and you must be Kakashi Hatake of Konoha. Zabuza added. Who's this Zabuza guy, sensei? Naruto asked. Momochi Zabuza is commonly known as the Demon of Kiri. He's a rogue ninja from the Kiri that used to work on the assassination group. He's also one of the legendary 7 shinobi swordsmen. But years ago the group disbanded after a failed attempt in the assassination of the Mizukage, ruler of the water country. Kakashi explained. Yes, my history does have a lot to it. Zabuza replied. So Gato hired you to assassinate Tazuna? Kakashi demanded. That was the plan, however I'm not interested in the old man, Zabuza said, pulling his sword out of the tree and landed on the ground. He peered past Kakashi, Sasuke, and Ino until his gaze fell upon Shredder Naruto. You with the armor? Yes. Naruto asked. Are you the one called the Shredder? Zabuza asked. Depends on who wants to know. Naruto replied. I do. I've heard that someone wearing the famed Shredder armor was among this group, so I had to see it for myself. Well, you came and saw, so why don't you leave? Naruto asked, making Kakashi worried about talking in that kind of tone with a nuke nin. I didn't come for a meet and greet with you. I came here for a match. He held out his blade. Naruto, get back, don't listen. Kakashi said, getting between them. Keep out of this, Kakashi. I just want a friendly spar with him, to see if he truly is worth being known as the Shredder. Kakashi-sensei, stand down. I want to test my abilities too. Naruto added. Before Kakashi could do anything else, Zabuza formed a water barrier around Squad 7 and Tazuna. There now, they won't get in our way. Sasuke tried punching the water but to no avail. Why the hell can't we get through? It's just water. Sasuke strained as he tried to break them out. This water has been infused with chakra. Kakashi explained. So what can we do? Ino asked. Looks like we'll have to wait until this spar is over. Kakashi sighed. Assuming Naruto will survive, Sasuke mumbled under his breath. Now then, let's get started. Zabuza said as he readied his sword. Yes. Naruto said, grabbing the Tengu sword. The legendary sword of Tengu. Let's see how it matches against my Kubikiri Haucho. Zabuza said, gripping his blade tighter. Let's find out. Naruto called as the two went at it in a sword fight. Zabuza swung his large blade for Naruto, who jumped back avoiding the swing and charged his sword and fired a sonic blast from it at Zabuza, who melted into water. Mizu Bunshin. Naruto gasped. He quickly turned and saw Zabuza was right on top of him ready to slice him in half. Naruto-kun. Ino cried, but Naruto used his sword to deflect Zabuza's blow and shoved him back. Not bad, boy. You've learned a lot from the teachings of the legendary Oroku Sake, Zabuza said. Yes, I know he died years ago. He was the icon of the Seven Swordsmen. We had wished he would have been a part of our group during our time. What a shame. He probably would have been a fine member at that. Naruto commented. He would have, but the Seven Swordsmen are a thing of the past. Now I'm just a hired hand these days. Zabuza said as they continued in engaging in a sword fight. Naruto fired constant sonic blasts from the Tengu sword at Zabuza, who avoided a majority of them but ended up getting into the firing position and got hit a few times. Had enough, Demon of Kiri? Naruto asked. Hardly. Zabuza called, going through a lot of hand signs. Suiryuden no Jutsu. He shouted, releasing a water dragon lunging right for Naruto. Naruto, move. Kakashi called. Naruto, rather than move, held the Tengu sword in front, charging it up, and when it came into contact with the water dragon, the energy traveled through it back to Zabuza, shocking him. I hope that's not all you got. Naruto hoped. It isn't. Now you're going to find out why I'm known as the Demon of Kiri. Zabuza said, forming a hand sign, Kurigakure no Jutsu. Suddenly the mist around started getting thicker and thicker. He's controlling the mist. Ino gasped. That's one of his trademark jutsus. Kakashi added. Naruto stumbled around, looking through his surroundings. Oh man, fighting in mist is definitely dangerous, especially now that I can't rely on my eyes, he thought. Looks like I'll have to rely on other senses. He started listening for the sound of Zabuza approaching, but due to Zabuza also being famous for the Muon Satsujin Jutsu, silent homicide technique, could strike at any given time without making a sound. You're finished. Zabuza shouted as he jumped above, ready to chop Naruto until he used the twin-bladed gauntlet to stop the sword in mid-chop. He released his hold of his sword and punched Zabuza in the stomach with all his might and actually knocked him off balance. Not yet, I'm not. Naruto called. He tackled Zabuza, causing him to let go of his own sword, and the two crashed into two trees, knocking both of them down. Naruto finally had Zabuza pinned down and raised his left arm, ready to pierce him with his gauntlet. Zabuza shut his eyes, waiting for him to finish him, but to his surprise he didn't feel anything. He opened his eyes, seeing the gauntlet blades were struck in the ground at the side of his head. He looked up, seeing Naruto pulling the blades up, and got off of Zabuza, extending his right arm for him. Do you accept me as the new Shredder? He asked. Zabuza looked hesitant but sighed. I do. He said, taking Naruto's hand, and got up. Squad 7 watched in surprise, seeing that the Demon of Kiri wasn't going to kill Naruto. You may feel like Oroku Sake with that armor, but you aren't him, Zabuza told Naruto, which made him squint his eyes beneath his helmet. You are in fact better than him. This got Naruto amused. You've inherited Saki's fighting spirit even if you aren't blood related, Zabuza continued. I'm honored to have spared with the new legacy of the Shredder. He said, and shook hands with Naruto in respect. Zabuza turned to the squad and released them from the water imprisonment. Don't you have a job to do for Gato? Kakashi asked the swordsman. I'm done working with Gato. I only agreed to do it because he promised me a big pay, but he can keep his money, Zabuza answered. Haku, you can come out now. Appearing by Zabuza was a girl-looking figure dressed in a blue robe with hair done in a bun. Hello, my name is Haku. Who's this? Ino asked. My adopted little brother. Zabuza answered. Brother? But he looks. Naruto gasped, seeing as how he looked like a girl. Yes, I get that a lot. Haku knew what Naruto was going for. So what are you going to do now? Kakashi asked the swordsman. Ever since I've defected from Kiri, Haku and I have traveled the ninja land as hired mercenaries, Zabuza explained. We've never really had a place to call a home. When I heard that the Shredder was amongst you, I thought it was a sign that signaled that I found where we belonged alongside the legendary Shredder. Well, sorry I'm not the first one. Naruto replied. It matters not. I am glad to have met someone to carry on the Shredder's legacy. Let me ask you, are you training foot ninja? Zabuza asked curiously. I want to, but I don't think I can do it alone. Naruto answered. Zabuza smiled beneath his bandage-covered mouth, then allow me to assist you. What? Naruto asked, and the others were confused as well. Will you hire me as your Foot Clan trainer to the younger generation? Zabuza asked. I will honor the Foot Clan name as well as Master Sake. Naruto thought about it. Well, okay, but you do know that if I am hiring you, that means I am your master and you are a lower ninja to me. Zabuza realized what that inside, knowing that if he wants to train with the foot, he'll have to sacrifice a small bit of pride, a small sacrifice. He replied. Naruto looked at Kakashi. Sensei, you think we could convince Gigi to let Zabuza and Haku into Konoha? I'm not sure, Naruto. I mean, Zabuza does have a huge bounty. Kakashi explained. Well, then maybe he can work that off performing deeds for Konoha. Naruto suggested. Well, it's not me you should tell that, Kakashi reminded him, but I suppose he can come back with us when the mission is over. What about Gato? Shouldn't you be going back to him? Sasuke asked. Don't worry about it, kid. When I return with a report, I'll give him a report. Zabuza snickered. Okay then, Ino said, knowing what Zabuza meant by that. Zabuza turned back to Naruto, and now Naruto is it. I wish to see your true face, if that's okay. No problem, Naruto said, lifting the helmet off, revealing his true face to the swordsman. Zabuza got down on one knee and bowed his head. I am in your department, Master Shredder. And I shall fight alongside you too. Haku said, bowing as well. Looks like I got me 2 more foot ninja, Ino. Naruto asked. Ino smiled. You sure do, Naruto-kun. She said, giving him a kiss. Well, what are we standing around for? Let's head for my place and rest up. Tazuna said. Good idea. Come on. Kakashi said as Naruto and Zabuza collected their swords and headed up for Tazuna's place. The Konoha squad along with Zabuza and Haku followed Tazuna to a small house by the docks. Well, home sweet home. Tazuna led them to it. Nice place. Naruto looked at the place. It's not much, but it's home. Tazuna admitted. I like it. Haku said. Well, come on, let's head in. Tazuna led them inside. I'm home. Then a young blue-haired woman walked into the room to see them. Dad, what took you so long? You said you'd be back by at least a day or two. She crossed her arms. I'm sorry, Tsunami, but I ran into a bit of trouble. Luckily, I had these brave ninja to help me through it. Tazuna introduced his daughter to them. Tsunami looked a bit frightened at the appearance of Zabuza holding his large sword, as well as Naruto in his shredder armor. You guys might wanna lose the. Kakashi motioned to the two. Whoop. Sorry. Zabuza said, putting his sword aside, and Naruto removed his helmet. Anyway, this is my daughter Tsunami. Tazuna introduced them. Tsunami, this is Kakashi, Naruto, Ino, Sasuke, Zabuza, and Haku. Nice to meet you all. Tsunami greeted them. Grandfather. A voice called as a little boy rushed from another room and embraced the old man. Hey Inari. Good to see you. Tazuna said, hugging the boy who was his grandson. Who are these people? Inari asked, looking at the extra company. These nice ninja are gonna help your grandpa finish his bridge quicker. Tazuna answered. You're really going to help? Tsunami asked with joy. Well, originally we intended on escorting Tazuna back, but we've had a change of heart. Kakashi explained. And don't you worry. We'll make sure nothing happens to interfere with the construction of his bridge. Naruto added. But what about Gato and his men? Inari asked, ready to cry. Kid, I've seen his men, Zabuza began. I've dealt with stronger people than them. Yes, should his men try to meddle in our affairs, we will put an end to them. Haku added. You mean it? Inari asked. They both nodded as Naruto stepped forward. Should any of them also meddle in Konoha business, they'll have to face the shredder. He declared, causing Ino to giggle and Sasuke to huff. Well, you're all welcome to stay here as long as you need to. Tsunami bowed her head to her honored guests. Arigato. Kakashi thanked her. An hour later, in a forest area close to their place, Naruto was in his shredder armor teaching Ino and Zabuza some more Foot Clan moves while Sasuke and Haku watched. Aren't you going to join them? Haku asked the Uchiha. Not interested, Sasuke answered. I see, Haku replied. Why don't you join them? Sasuke asked Haku. Not really my best style of combat, Haku answered. Soon after the exercise, Ino sat besides the two and they watched Naruto and Zabuza clash with their weapons in a simple sword spar, only this time it wasn't as lethal. Zabuza sure knows how to wield that monstrous blade. Ino gasped in amaze knowing it'd take a lot of strength to hold it up with ease. Yes, Zabuza has always amazed me with his abilities, Haku explained, though he is also impressed by my own abilities too. Abilities? Sasuke asked interested. Yes. You see I have a bloodline. Haku answered. Your own Kekkei Genkai. Ino gasped. What is it? Well, you know how there are the regular types of elemental jutsu. Haku asked and they nodded. Well, my family was born with another element, the ability to use Hyouten Jutsu. Ice Jutsu? Ino asked. That's right. Though I'm not sure how many others have this bloodline. Haku admitted. What do you mean? Sasuke asked. Well, in Kiri bloodline families were frowned upon and loathed believing to be the cause of ninja wars, Haku explained, which made Sasuke think that his family would be hated if they lived in Kiri. My mother was the one able to use our family bloodline, but when my father discovered this he murdered her. He said, earning shocked looks from Ino and Sasuke. You father murdered your mother? Ino gasped. Yes, and he attempted to go after me as well, Haku continued. In a blind rage I ended up using my powers to kill my father and a mob that he assembled. I was on my own since finding what little food I can until one day I met Zabuza. He took me in and gave me a reason to live again. I'm glad that he and I found each other, he's like a big brother to me. Meanwhile, Naruto and Zabuza continued sword sparring while having their own conversation. Wow, Naruto, that must have been one hectic life for you. Zabuza said after hearing Naruto explain about how he was brutally treated. Yup. But after learning about the secrets of sake I trained in the Foot Clan art so that no one would bother me again. Naruto explained as he parried Zabuza's blade. Well, you learned well, Zabuza said. My life wasn't totally glamorous either. Me and the rest of the ninja swordsmen from Kiri were Kiri's best and brightest. But that damn Mizukage grew weary of us, fearing we'd try to overthrow him. He secretly sent assassins after us and one day we couldn't take it anymore. So we decided to go after him for real. However, he saw it coming and was prepared. Ashamed of our failure, we fled Kiri and went our separate ways. He said, trying to chop Naruto, but the shredder jumped away, avoiding the attack. How unfortunate for you. Naruto twirled the sword of Tengu. It makes no difference. I didn't have anybody in Kiri anyway. My parents died in one of Kiri's wars. So I swore I wouldn't be weak like them or anybody. That's why I focused on my skills and abilities and became a member of the Seven Swordsmen. Well, your abilities won't go to waste training with me, Zabuza. Naruto said, releasing a sonic blast at Zabuza. Zabuza couldn't move quick enough, got caught in the attack and flew back but landed on his feet. Yeah, and I look forward to fighting alongside you, Naruto. Later on, Kakashi showed up and saw the two sword wielders finishing their spar. They seemed to be getting along well. Well, Naruto's found himself a sparring partner. Ino noted. I've truly never seen someone match Zabuza like that before. Haku said, astounded by Naruto's skill with his weapon and armor. Well, it's getting late so we should be heading back, Sasuke explained. You're right, Naruto said, seeing how late it was getting since they arrived to that area of the forest. That evening they were sitting at the dinner table in Tezuna's home enjoying a nice home-cooked meal. This food you've prepared is without question delicious, Tsunami. Zabuza complimented her. Oh yes, very good, Haku agreed. Well, thank you both, Tsunami replied. You're all going to need your strength up because tomorrow I'm going to teach you all a special chakra training exercise. Kakashi explained to his squad. which is something that all ninja learn at your rank. Zabuza added. What sort of exercise? Ino asked. That will be saved for tomorrow, Ino. Kakashi answered. Naruto, who was out of his armor and in his white robe, was sipping some tea. Well, then we'll wait until morning. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to bed. Naruto said as he bowed his head in thanks for the food and headed for his guest room. When Naruto returned to his guest room, he looked at his shredder armor in a standing upright position. I'm sure you'd be proud to have a member of the Seven Swordsmen joining the Foot Clan, Sake. He said before getting to bed. As Naruto slept, he suddenly felt something warm against him. Feeling curious, he turned around and was face to face with Ino, who was smiling. Ino, what are you doing in my bed? Naruto gasped. I just thought I'd keep you company, Naruto. Ino answered. Why do you think I need company? Well, because nobody's ever wanted to associate with you when we were children, so I thought maybe I could be there for you this night. Ino replied. Naruto smiled. Well, you bring up a good point, all right then. Ino smiled and wrapped her arms around Naruto, falling asleep immediately. Good night, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled as he wrapped his arms around her and fell asleep with her. After that night, Naruto woke up to his surprise to see Ino no longer in his bed. Well, guess she's an early riser. He joked to himself as he got up and slipped into his robe. He looked into a mirror and fixed the upper half so the 2-foot clan crests were straight. Okay already. Naruto said as he exited and joined the others at the table. Morning, everybody. Naruto said while stretching. Morning, Naruto, Naruto-kun. Haku and Ino greeted while Sasuke said nothing. So Kakashi-sensei, what's on our lineup today? Naruto asked. Well, Naruto, like I said last night, I'll be teaching you a very basic form of chakra control. Kakashi explained. Meanwhile, I'll be checking in with Gato so that he doesn't think I'm dead. Zabuza added. So what are we going to do about Gato, Zabuza? Haku asked. Since he's had numerous innocent lives killed for his own enjoyment, let's see if he enjoys getting killed himself. Zabuza answered. Well, be careful. Kakashi warned them. Not to worry. Zabuza said as he finished his meal and left, needing to go and fake a report to Gato. Soon enough, Kakashi along with his squad, while Naruto had his shredder armor off to the side just in case, were in the forest. So what kind of chakra control are you going to be teaching us? Ino asked. Well, I'm going to teach you all how to climb a tree without using your hands. Kakashi explained, which got them confused. Say what? Naruto asked. It's really simple once you get the hang of it. Kakashi explained as he walked up to a tree. First thing to do is apply chakra to the soles of your feet and use that chakra to stick to the tree. Like so. Kakashi said as he walked up the tree with little difficulty. That is so freaking awesome. Naruto declared. No way. Sasuke gasped. Yes way. Kakashi said, throwing them each a kunai. Use those to mark the area on the tree however far you make it up. Naruto looked at his kunai and placed it in his pouch. I got a better way to keep track. Naruto said, going to his shredder armor and detached the 2 long-bladed glove from the left arm and wore it on his left hand. This is better. He held up his hand for them to see the bladed glove. So the 3 genin started off running up the tree selected by them, putting a slash in the area they reached before landing back to the ground. They then continued to try and reach further than the area they slashed on and on. Meanwhile, far from the forest inside a secret compound, Gato sat in an armchair as Zabuza entered. Zabuza, I was beginning to think you were dead. The midget mocked. I don't die that easily, Gato. Zabuza replied. Have you taken care of Tazuna? Gato asked, drumming his fingers together. Not yet, but I'm close. Zabuza answered. Gato frowned. I didn't pay you to procrastinate, Zabuza. I'm aware of that, but I have an even better idea, Zabuza said, getting his employer's attention. Let's meet in another 2 days by the bridge being built. Gather all your men, that way you can all bear witness to the destruction of the bridge. A clever idea, Zabuza. I like it. Gato smirked. Oh, you'll love it more, Gato. I assure you. Zabuza said as he took his leave. Later on that day, it was already around sundown. Naruto, Ino, and Sasuke were resting at the trees they were practicing with their chakra, while Kakashi was reading his book. After 4 hours we finally did it. Ino panted. I didn't think it'd be this hard. Sasuke said. Wonder if the other squads will be learning this stuff. Naruto panted. Well, you three seem tuckered out. Haku said, approaching them with a basket. Haku, where've you been all day? Naruto asked. Out picking herbs for medicines. Haku explained. Are you a medic ninja too? Ino asked curiously. Kind of, Haku admitted. So Kakashi, how did they do? Well, they made it to the top after a few hours. Kakashi answered. I see. Haku smiled and sat by them. So I've been meaning to ask all of you, do any of you have anyone who's precious to you? Well, I have Naruto-kun and my family. Ino answered. I have Ino, and several others. Naruto answered. I do not have nor do I need anyone precious to me. Sasuke answered with a scowl, if I did they're all dead. Naruto and Ino looked at their final teammate knowing he'll never change. What a shame, because having someone precious in your life to fight for makes you a stronger fighter, Haku explained, that's why I'm strong, because I have Zabuza in my life. Kakashi couldn't help but smile remembering his old teammates and how fighting for them made him strong as well. Naruto was truly taken in by Haku's words and couldn't help but wonder if Master Sake had anyone precious in his life worth fighting for. He thought to himself. Well, come on guys, let's head back. Kakashi told his squad as they headed back to Tazuna's place. After they had dinner, Naruto was in his guest room sharpening the blades on his armor, while Ino and Haku were watching and talking. So can you show us your bloodline abilities? Ino asked Haku. Well, okay, Haku said as he concentrated and was able to form an ice crystal in his hand. Wow, Ino gasped. That's pure ice. Naruto said watching while he worked. Zabuza trained me how to harness my abilities so that I would become the perfect fighter type. Haku explained. You don't say. Naruto asked, interested in his words. Zabuza then walked in. Evening everyone. Evening Zabuza. How'd it go? Haku asked. Gato swallowed the bait like I knew he would. Zabuza answered with a smirk underneath his cloth-covered mouth. Perfect. Was Sensei already informed of all of this? Naruto asked. Told him as soon as I came in. Well then, looks like I will make the Land of Waves my first victory mark as the new Shredder. Naruto smiled as he looked at his Shredder helmet and thought, which means I'm going to be doing some killing. The very next morning, Naruto woke up with a determined look in his eyes. Today's the day. He said and turned to his Shredder armor smirking. He walked out of his room with his Tengu sword on his back while carrying his helmet. Upon entering the living room to see everyone sitting around until they looked at him as he stood in the doorway. Today marks the first true strike of the new Shredder. Naruto said, putting his helmet on. Do you have to be so dramatic? Sasuke asked dryly. Adds to the hype. He answered. I sure hope you're prepared for this, especially you Genin. Zabuza motioned to Squad 7, because this will truly test to see if you're really capable of being ninja. We'll have to kill someday. So might as well start now. Shredder Naruto answered. Well, we better hurry. Kakashi began and turned to Tsunami and Inari. Gather as many villagers as you can, because I think this will be something they'll all want to see. Tsunami and Inari nodded as Tazuna and his protectors headed for the bridge. When they reached the bridge that was near completion, they waited until the villagers came with Tsunami and Inari. What's this about, Tazuna? One villager asked. Yeah, you said this was something important. Another villager said. Everyone, today I promise you will be the end to all our suffering. Tazuna declared. How? They questioned. Zabuza approached, because today Gato will finally be brought down. By our hands. Shredder Naruto added. The villagers looked scared and yet relieved at the thought of Gato finally being put out of their misery. Zabuza. A voice called. They all looked up ahead, seeing Gato and a mob of thugs behind him. That's Gato. Sasuke asked, seeing how this midget of a man could be such a threat. Gato looked to see Zabuza and Haku on the side with the villagers. I thought you said you were going to kill them. I did say that, but I have other plans now. Zabuza answered smugly. You dare betray me. You're fired. Gato bellowed. Fired. I quit. Zabuza answered. Gato growled and turned to his thugs. What are you all waiting for? Get them. The whole mob of thugs shouted, charging along the bridge for the people. Shredder Naruto looked to Zabuza. Shall we? After you. Zabuza answered as they charged for the mob, grabbing their blades. Zabuza grabbed his sword and swung it, slicing numerous mercenaries in half. Shredder Naruto grabbed his own sword and pointed it at some more thugs. Feel the power of the Tengu sword, worms. He shouted, releasing sonic blasts from his blade, pushing the thugs back before he used the blade to behead them. I'm not letting them have all the fun. Sasuke said, joining them, and uses his fireball jutsu against the thugs along with activating his second level Sharingan, which he managed to awaken with the help from the chakra exercise. I also wish to help Zabuza. Haku added as ice spears grew on his arms and he took off with incredible speed, stabbing the thugs. Kakashi, not wanting to be left out either, joined them, using his own strength to defeat the mercenaries with little difficulty. Ino used her mind-swapping jutsu to possess one thug and used him to attack others. Gato watched in fright as his hired men were being taken down one by one. Seeing he no longer had any bodyguards, he did what any sane man would do, run. Unfortunately for him, he ran right into Shredder Naruto and fell down. No. Gato gasped in fear of the one before him. Shredder Naruto raised his bladed gauntlet up in the air. Time for you to take a one-way trip to hell, little man. He dropped his gauntlet blades down on Gato and the midget coughed up blood before falling face down dead. The villagers watched, seeing Gato, the man that plagued their country for years, has finally been brought to justice. Zabuza approached Shredder Naruto and removed the bandages covering his mouth and smiled. It was an honor to fight beside you, Shredder. Naruto smiled beneath his helmet and replies, yeah. The swordsmen of Kiri and New Shredder threw their right arms back and bumped their fists together. With the threat of Gato no longer plaguing Wave, Tazuna and his workers were able to finish the bridge peacefully. Meanwhile, Naruto was in his guest room in his white robe, sipping tea while his Shredder armor and sword were placed in a corner of the room. Ino entered the room and looked at Naruto. Naruto-kun, wanna go for a walk with me? Naruto smiled. Sure, he said, getting up and walked with her until he looked to Haku. Keep an eye on my armor and blade in case someone tries to mess with them. He whispered to the ice user while motioning to Sasuke, thinking he might try to take the blade or try the armor on. Haku nodded, giving Naruto his word, and the two blondes headed outside. They walked along the village, getting numerous waves and congrats from the villagers for getting rid of Gato. How about that, we're already celebrities. Naruto noticed. Well, we did save them from a tyrannical mobster. Ino reminded him. Point taken, Naruto admitted, until Ino stopped while looking up ahead. Ino. Naruto asked, wondering what the hold-up was. Naruto-kun, look at that. Ino pointed up to a sign. Naruto looked up, seeing the sign was for a public hot springs, and despite how poverty-stricken the town was during Gato's reign of terror, this place looked truly active. A hot springs. Ino cheered. Looks in good shape too. Naruto noticed. Oh, come on, let's go in. Ino said, grabbing Naruto by the arm and dragged him inside. Naruto looked at the hot spring schedules and saw it was mixed bathing today. Mixed bathing. Well, it was a good idea. Naruto said, sure that Ino wasn't going to go for it. What are you talking about? It's just mixed bathing. Ino replied. You mean you don't have a problem with it? Naruto asked, surprised. Should I? Well, not that you need to, but I thought no girl would be for mixed bathing unless they were married women. Naruto said, knowing that didn't sound right. Well, I'm not like those kinds of girls, Naruto-kun, Ino answered, so don't be a stick in the mud and let's go. She dragged him along. Soon Naruto, who was waist-clad in a towel, was sitting in the hot springs, which was only occupied by him. Man, this is heaven. Naruto stretched his arms out. Mind if I join you? Ino asked, walking in. Naruto turned around and gawked, seeing Ino clad in a towel that hugged her body, along with her long ponytail down, making her all the more hot in the eyes of Naruto. Whoa! Naruto thought, feeling turned on by the sight of a towel-clad Ino. Ino smiled and entered the hot springs, sitting next to Naruto, who was trying to avoid looking at her in the wrong way. Are you okay, Naruto-kun? Ino asked, noticing he was edgy. Yeah, I'm all right. Are you nervous because you're alone with me in a hot springs? Ino asked, knowing full well it was the case. Okay, you got me, Naruto admitted, but don't get me wrong, it's not you. It's just I've never been in a situation like this, so I don't know what to do. Ino smiled, knowing how to help him. Well, why don't you just relax and let Ino take care of you for now? Ino said, getting behind him and started washing his back for him. Naruto felt a little tense but calmed down as Ino washed his back. How does this feel, Naruto-kun? Ino asked. That feels good. He admitted. I'm glad to hear that. Ino smiled as she continued to wash his back. Soon she was finished. Thanks for that wash, Ino. He smiled. You're welcome, Naruto-kun. Now would you be so kind as to wash mine now? Ino asked sweetly. Naruto blushed but pulled himself together. You really want me to? It would mean so much to me, Naruto-kun. Ino said as he loosened the part of her towel, exposing her backside to Naruto. Naruto blushed upon seeing Ino's bare back and got more thoughts of what her front looked like, but he quickly shook off the idea and did what she wanted, washing Ino's back. As he washed, she moaned in delight. Oh, that's it, Naruto-kun, keep doing that. Naruto smiled a bit as he continued washing Ino's back, pleasing her. Soon after washing her back for 15 minutes, she pulled her towel back up, covering her back, and turned toward Naruto. Arigato, for what you did for me, Naruto-kun. Ino said as she threw her arms around her guy, kissing him square on the lips, which caused her chest to press against him. Naruto was too preoccupied with Ino's kiss to even realize her chest was pressed against his own. Soon the two exited the hot springs dressed in their regular clothes again, and continued to walk around the village, waving to the people who greeted them, showing respect. However, a woman who just noticed them gasped at their headbands. Konoha ninja. She asked herself. This woman wore an orange cloak with the hood up, a blue zipped-up short-sleeved shirt covered by a tan apron, red pants, and sandals. She tried to get a look at the blonde boy who looked familiar to her. Why does that boy remind me of someone? She asked herself. Well, come on, Naruto, we better head back to Sensei. Ino said to Naruto, which got the woman in shock. Naruto, she asked herself as she finally got a good look at the boy, and she appeared to have started crying underneath her hood. Later on, Naruto and Ino met back up with Kakashi, Sasuke, Zabuza, and Haku, who were outside Tazuna's. Naruto quickly got into his shredder armor, helmet, and sword and exited out. Well, now that we have everything, we better head home. Kakashi ordered. Yup. Konoha's calling. Shredder Naruto agreed. Well, we better hurry. Zabuza said. Wait a minute. A female cry was heard. They all looked as the cloaked woman was running up to them. Please, I couldn't come sooner, but now I realized I had to come. Is there a problem, Ms.? Kakashi asked. Kakashi, is that really you? The woman asked. You know me. Kakashi raised a brow. Of course I know you. The woman said in a huff of disappointment. I know it's been years, but shouldn't you remember the wife of your own sensei? Kakashi's eye widened while his squad looked confused until the woman pulled down her cloak to reveal she had red long hair with a yellow beret in it, pale skin, and violet eyes. Kushina. Kakashi gasped. That's my name. The woman known as Kushina answered. But how? We thought you were dead. Kakashi said in shock. Who told you that? Kushina asked, putting her hands on her hips, feeling crossed. One of the Anbu, but strange it wasn't one from my division or one I truly recognized, unless it was from the Root division. Kakashi gasped, knowing that if Root Anbu were involved, then Danzo Shimura the warmonger was the mastermind behind it all. Never mind Root. Kushina said as she looked at everyone wondering where Naruto was until her eyes fell upon the armor figure who was looking at her in shock. Are you Kushina Uzumaki? Shredder Naruto asked. Yes I am, but who are you? Kushina asked. Shredder Naruto threw off his helmet revealing his real face. I'm your son, Naruto. He said, which got his teammates, Zabuza, Haku, Inari, Tazuna, and Tsunami shocked. Kushina looked at him seeing his blue eyes, messy blonde hair, and whisker marks on his cheeks. She started to shed some tears as she spoke, Naruto, my baby. She ran and embraced the armor-clad ninja. Ino and Sasuke look at the adult woman holding Naruto, that's his mother. Sasuke asked. She's beautiful. Ino remarked. My sweet baby boy, you're really alive. Kushina said still hugging her son. What did you think I was dead? He asked. I was told by an Anbu that you died during the night you were born. So I fled Konoha heartbroken. Kushina wept. It had to have been the same root Anbu. Kakashi narrowed his one eye. Kushina frowned. I'll have the heads of those root Anbu put on a pike when I get back. She shouted but realized she overdid it and scared everyone. Whoops, sorry. She rubbed the back of her head sheepishly. Same old Kushina. Kakashi chuckled. So you're a ninja Naruto? Kushina asked. You bet. But I'm much more than that, Naruto explained. I'm now the new Shredder. The Shredder? You mean you're learning the moves of Oroku Sake and the Foot Clan? Kushina gasped. Naruto nodded and dragged her along to meet everyone. Mom, I'd like you to meet my squad, Sasuke, and Ino. Kushina inspected the two teens. So you're from the Uchiha clan and you're from the Yamanaka clan. That's right. Ino nodded. Right over here we have Zabuza Momochi from Kiri and Haku. Naruto introduced her to his newest friends. It's such an honor to meet one of the 7 swordsmen from Kiri. Kushina said to Zabuza. How kind of you. Zabuza replied. I'm sure you'd know of Tazuna the bridge builder here in Wave. Yes. Congratulations on finishing it, Tazuna. Kushina said. Well, I wouldn't have been able to finish it without the help of your son and his team. Tazuna replied. Kakashi cleared his throat. Well, I'd hate to break up this reunion, but we really should be heading home. You're gonna come with, aren't you, Mom? Naruto asked. Kushina looked to Naruto. I most certainly am, Naruto. I have some words I want to tell Sarutobi. Well then, shall we go? Haku asked and they nodded. They all met by the bridge bidding their farewell to Tazuna and his family and left. Tazuna looked at his bridge. Still need a name for the bridge though, and I got just the one. We'll name after the hero our village will remember always, the Great Shredder Bridge. Tazuna said watching the group leave. As they walked, Kushina asked Kakashi, so how is Konoha these days? Better than it was before, I'll tell you that much. Kakashi answered. I sure can't wait to return home. She smiled. I hope they'll accept me and Haku. Zabuza said hopefully. Oh, Gigi won't mind. Plus I'll show you all my favorite spots in the village. There's Ichiraku, the Ninja Academy. Naruto started listing places while telling the mist ninjas as they all walked off into the sunset heading back home for Konoha.